It is, of course, today International Mandela Day, and yesterday we saw those lectures delivered by the former US President Barack Obama and, of course, also Professor Patrick Lumumba out in Tata. And we asked you earlier to reflect on those and tell us what your thoughts were. You know, did they do anything for you? Not? What were the takeaways? Still waiting on those answers at Morning Live SABC, and please use the hashtag Morning Live as well. Well, joining us now is Mr. Tokyo Sexwale, and he's here to talk to us about, of course, his memories of Madiba and also reflecting on some of the more current issues, the contemporary questions around Madiba and Madiba's legacy and the like. And Mr. Sexwale, thanks for coming through.
Maybe too early in the morning, but I'm here.
We make no apologies for that.
Yes.
But with that said, though, so yesterday we saw those lectures, but before we get to what they were about...
The lecture. There's one.
There was one. We'll come to that.
Yes.
But let's start with Madiba and, you know, your memories of the man whose centenary we celebrate today.
There are many memories of Madiba, and I'm sure many people have them for themselves. But the world has one memory of Madiba. That's why we say, be the legacy. What is the legacy of Madiba? The ability to stand up against wrongs in society. That's Nelson Mandela. And the determination to stand up for what is right in the world. Now, legacy is what you leave behind for yourself. So there are many things. He was a lawyer, politician, president, whatever, boxer. But what has he left behind? That's why at the Mandela Foundation we say, you be the legacy. And for me, the single largest thing that Madiba has left for us is the ability to stand up against what is wrong in society and for what is good. Social justice, human rights, equality. These things are evergreen. They'll remain with us forevermore. He's a social justice man. He's an economic freedom fighter. He's a man for peace in the whole world. He's a man for human rights. He's got these values. He's got these ethics. And that's what we are driving as South Africans from his foundation. But most importantly, this is an international day. The only human being in history where the United Nations, everybody clashes. The only human being that the UN General Assembly agreed should be celebrated his birthday, which is today, by the way, not yesterday. The only human being that has been adopted by the United Nations because of these values that he carries. He embodies the spirit of mankind.
And, of course, Madiba himself, I think, would not be too perturbed about the fact that his legacy is being debated today. And there are many views about, but without necessarily getting too deep into that, listening to the lecture by President Barack Obama yesterday. Now, before we even get to that, you said there was one lecture. So we saw President Barack Obama, and later on in Tata, there was Professor Patrick Lumumba, which was also
yes,
a Mandela lecture. So talk to us about that, the two lectures and why.
There are no two Madibas. There could be a million lectures. So both speakers, one was live, that's where we were yesterday. The other one, we caught up with it later. But both persons cover the spirit of Madiba, the Democrat. They all emphasize on the values that Madiba espouses. All of us cannot run away from the question of justice, of equality, of freedom, of the struggle against discrimination. Nobody can put up Mandela out there without mentioning these things. And of course, different people will approach Madiba because he's a diamond that is cut in different facets. Depends which Madiba you want to talk to. But the fullness of the man is that's of a fighter for the world to be a peaceful one, and for his own people to see justice after many, many years of struggle against apartheid. Not only those speakers, but I'm sure as we listen to all other people, this being a United Nations Day across the world, they'll all harp upon the same magic of Madiba. The same ethics, the same values, the same spirit of Ubuntu around him.
But of course, there was, of course, a bit of contention as well around the choice of speaker for the centennial celebration of Madiba's birth. And Barack Obama, of course, many people enjoyed him. I enjoyed the lecture, but it doesn't take away from the fact that some people feel that perhaps he was not the right choice of person.
Well, people have got their views. I'll tell you how we approach this question of the speaker for the annual lecture of Nelson Mandela. And we've had 16 now, as of yesterday. Here is what must be clear to people. We don't identify speakers on the basis of agreeing with anybody. The foundation doesn't have to agree with anybody. It provides a space, a safe space, for people who have got very strong opinions about what can shake the world, what can move the world. We provide them with a space to come and make a message. Key, of course, is that we don't invite enemies of Nelson Mandela, but his critics are welcome to come. And so we don't have to agree with Obama. We started with Clinton. That was the first speech. Then we had Thabo Mbeki. Then we have had Mary Robinson. We've had Kofi Annan. We've got Bill Gates. So we don't have to agree with anybody, but we provide that space so that there should be a debate. We can well appreciate the criticism, and they will always, all these speakers have been criticized, the criticism of the choice of Obama. He's not going to be loved by everybody. I don't share everything that Obama stands for. He's an American. I'm a South African. He was a president who was full of hell and fire. He killed people with hellfire missiles. I don't espouse to that. In this country, I was still a terrorist. But what joins us, what is Obama for us? What joins us in the West with Obama is the revulsion that we all have against discrimination, social justice, equality, human rights, the struggle for freedom of black people in America, Afro-Americans, and ourselves here. So he's very strong on non-racialism, very strong on the spirit of anti-racism, anti-discrimination. Other things, U.S. foreign policy, him and I don't see eye to eye. Because I think it's appalling what American presidents, including Clinton, when they have power, what they do outside there. You can see here as another president. But this is what we share with Clinton. So it's not just Obama. People must not pick on Obama. Our first speaker was actually Clinton. So we provide a space. And then, of course, this is what makes Mandelaism, the spirit of Mandela, be able to grow in the world. Let people debate these ideas. But, of course, I repeat again, we don't invite people because we agree with them, but we don't also invite enemies of Mandela. They must at least share some of the values of Madiba. Then from there they can have their differences.
Did Madiba have enemies?
He was in jail for 27 years, and I spent 13 of those years. So I saw the enemies. We had the key, the guns, the barbed wire, the navy around us. Madiba was handed over, by the way, was betrayed by the FBI. Those are the people who betrayed him to the police in South Africa. Madiba was supposed to be assassinated in Ethiopia by some agent belonging to a country we shall not mention because it is sensitive, but his bodyguard came forward in Ethiopia to say he was supposed to be killed. Madiba was betrayed and was captured in Harwich. Madiba was beaten up in prison, was tortured. Madiba was insulted. What makes him Madiba is because he's able to rise above all those things. Did Madiba have enemies himself? Madiba didn't see other people as enemies, but enemies saw him as their enemy.
And then, of course, you know, in the spirit of Nelson Mandela and that overt generosity, which was clear for all to see, the generosity of spirit as well, he came up with this concept of a new dawn, at the dawn of democracy in this country. And then Thabo Mbeki came with the Renaissance, which also speaks to a rebirth. And now, again, we have Cyril Ramaphosa, the new president, talking about another new dawn. So what is it about all these new dawns? What are we missing as a nation?
Well, and I think that's where the debate should be. We must not accept every dawn that comes, Because it does appear that, and we're talking about major dawns, a new beginning in society, that type of thing. When Madiba spoke about the dawn of a new day for South Africa, it's because there was this separation between the midnight of South Africa, the whole long world of white domination with its speciality of apartheid. What divided this nation was caused mayhem, the shootings, executions, assassinations, no rights for people, apartness. So when we became president, never again. So this is the dawn of a new day. Now, Tata was talking about Africa's renaissance, a new day, a new period for Africa. Now, the president today, Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa, speaks about a new dawn. We should ask ourselves the question, if Cyril speaks today about the new dawn, what happened? Why don't we have continuity? What is this? Why should there be a new dawn? I agree with Cyril. I agree with the president. We need a new dawn.
But what does that mean? Does it mean we were stuck in darkness all along? We had a dawn, went
things
into
were
darkness?
going wrong. That's why even Obama referred to that period. There's a period of the last 10 years here, which was not joy. We chased out the president because there was this problem. We were captured, the state is captured, corruption was rampant, things were going wrong, lives were going wrong one after the other. So let's not beat about the bush. Sometimes people have, soon we've forgotten what has happened. The new dawn is because it's another beginning.
How many times are we going to have new beginnings, though? Why are we not getting it right?
Sakina, that's why this new dawn that we can't have new dawns all the time. So we have got to understand what are the threats to this dawn. Why do things go wrong? What are the opportunities to this dawn? Because I've said in the past, we can have a new dawn or a false dawn. May not happen. So the president's vision of this new dawn has got to be protected. He has got to be supported and protected, more than just support, protected, because there are threats to this dawn. There are people who now see this president as who have got to be around him for other purposes other than the president believes in a dawn. So there will be opportunism around this president. He's going to watch that. But we've got to watch that on his behalf as well. That opportunists must not see themselves coming from all sorts of sides, business unions, that type of thing. He's now, let's capture this one now. So there's a move to try to do that. Open your eyes, we can see that. So we've got to protect the president from this, which is the threat to this dawn. The other threat is chauvinism, neo-nationalism, tribalism, those type of things that want to shake him. The president should rely on the body of all of us South Africans. He needs help. We are there to help him, but also he must be seen to want that help. So the president's new dawn must be supported by all means, at all cost, because we can't have this costly exercise of things going wrong again. Things should not go wrong again. That's why this Ramaphosa new dawn is one that we stand with. Support it. As the whole body, he must appeal to all South Africans. And I want to say, more than the unity of the ANC, is the unity of the nation. Because the nation, for me, the patriot, comes first. I was a patriot. I fought first without even knowing the ANC. So the ANC became, what is special about the ANC? This body, this organization that the president lead, the organization of Nelson Mandela, is because it fashioned itself over history, over a period of time, to be the leader. It was not the struggler, the leader of the struggle. And the ANC was excellent, well known internationally and amongst our people. But things started going wrong inside the ANC. The ANC is busy right now, breaking apart. People are in court. And the president is right. He has got a special mission, and I'm a member of the ANC to join him, in uniting people of the ANC. But for me, what comes first is the unity of this nation. The ANC can break up in pieces in the end, but this nation should not fall. However, because I'm ANC, I would like to see the ANC protected as well, so that we avoid new dawns. This dawn must be there, we must be in the sun, the dusk must not return. And when the dusk returns, it gives us a midnight.
Well, we're going to leave it on that note. Thank you so much, Mr. Tokyo Sexwale, for coming through this morning.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Thanks.
And that was, of course, Mr. Tokyo Sexwale, and he is, of course, speaking to us here on Mandela Day, reflecting on Madiba, reflecting on contemporary issues around his legacy, and, of course, those speeches that we heard yesterday.